I'm Rick Dozer. I built a flat track bike because I ended up with an engine in my possession that was, they're getting pretty rare, this early 20th century motorcycles and their parts. So it was just really fitting to build a flat track motorcycle. What I really like about those style of bikes is basically, if you think about the guys who raced these motorcycles back in the day, and they just got a real pair, that just clank. I mean, these guys are going 100 to 115 miles an hour on a frame that looks like almost like a bicycle frame. They take off the brakes, they take off the clutch. It's a push start. It's just absolute bare bones. Anything you can do to save weight and just go a little bit faster than the next guy. So it's kind of their, probably in a time when a lot of people were struggling. It was almost like being a rock star. You're kind of trying to get at the top of your game, kind of thing. So I've always been kind of had a lot of admiration for those guys and the things that they did. Way back in the early days of motorcycles and just internal combustion engine in general. So I got the engine. It's a 1916 Harley-Davidson engine. Really good friend of mine. He was several years older than me, but oddly enough, he'd been kind of collecting this style of engine. It's called an F Head. So basically, anything in the teens from Harley-Davidson was that type of an engine. And this particular one was actually on a farm pump in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and he bought it for 150 bucks at a yard sale. And took it home, and it had some issues, and ended up getting it rebuilt and everything from a guy who's kind of a guru in the business and in that era of motorcycles. And Chicago was his nickname obviously, but really good guy, good friend of mine forever and ever. And he eventually succumbed to Parkinson's disease, but before he passed away, I had always been on him to sell me that engine, so we made a deal, and he just made me promise to do something cool with it. So if you think about the engine, it's a 1,000cc engine. So these guys aren't messing around. This is not like it looks really small and minuscule and all that kind of thing. And that's kind of the draw, or one of the beautiful parts of the engine itself is that it's just pure mechanical goodness. When you see it run, or you see the exposed push rods, and it's just really a beautiful engine, in my opinion. So getting back to some of that flat track stuff, those guys, they cut the weight, they cut the weight, they cut the weight. That's how you go faster and faster. So basically all I had of the original motorcycle was the engine. So I had to create everything else. So I decided I was going to make it as lightweight as I possibly could. So everything is aluminum. It's all hand formed aluminum, 6061 and some 3003. But so it's strong, but it's very lightweight. The thing weighs 173 pounds, and it's kind of all business. No brakes, no clutch. So you really can only ride it on a closed circuit, like a closed track. So in this particular case, it even has a wooden seat, but that's just to save some more weight too. But also aesthetically, I wanted to use some wood. But so these bikes, this one in particular, there's no suspension. There's no front suspension, no rear suspension. So springs are extra weight. So you don't even mess with that stuff, right? No clutch, no brakes. Very small fuel tank. So it's just all about the hardcore race aspect of it. And that's kind of what I was trying to capture with this. You'll notice the style of the bike is kind of Art Deco. It's got a lot of aero. I call it the AeroTracker. So it's got a lot of the aerospace influence from early 20s, 30s era. So I've tried to pull those two kind of influences together: the board tracker and the early airplanes, which I think are just beautiful machines as well. So yeah, if you look at the motorcycle, it's very compact, the wheelbase, it's very short, but still, it's 1,000 cc's. So, this thing it's a powerful machine and a very, very lightweight package, a handful.